It's loading, isn't it? Blah, 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 blah. So, I just watched episode 29 and 30, so yeah, just me. As you can see, there's a chair over there that Gabe was supposed to sit in, but he is not here, and I don't know where he is, so I'm just gonna have to carry on these 2 episodes without him, just so I don't end up like holding off for another week. All right, 29, 30, it was just kind of, well, 29 was more of the setup, the build up to this conflict between our side, which is Boruto Sarda, and Chojo himself, and against just the 7 myths, 7 swordsmen. It starts off with the whole gang of the 7 swordsmen getting their weapons, right? Each of them getting their own respective. The one to particularly you want to kind of keep a note of is the girl, I guess the blonde girl, getting her lightning swords, which are known as Kiba. It's kind of funny because of the fact that we have a character named Kiba in the show, so it's really weird to have that type of sword be named after an actual character. But then it kind of does make sense because those swords do have fangs like sticking out of the blade, which is actually kind of impractical when you actually see it in the next episode. Sticking around to this episode, it was about the whole 7 swordsmen getting their weapons, and at that point it's like, all right, now we got the weapons, now we can declare revolution, right? It's at this point that we still see Kagura still under the, well, he's still being controlled by Shizuma. Rape. It is important to note that there was some kind of security alarm that was triggered when all 7 swordsmen got their swords, and it was just a whole bunch of puppets, which makes sense in the Naruto universe that it would be puppets that'd be like the security robots. That security breach did trigger the alarm, and so Chodoro and the 5th Mitsukage at the time are coming in here, and they're just kind of discussing, okay, looks like they're trying to plan an attack, and it seems like they knew Shizuma was going to do this. It's here that we kind of get a read on Chodoro's mind, thinking like, what's he gonna do? Like, well, we're responsible for the 7 swordsmen, so we're going to essentially just cut them down. It's our responsibility to take care of the situation. We see Boruto and Sarada catching up to Chodoro, trying to convince them to like, hold on, whatever you do, do not clump Kagura into all of this. He is good. He's just being controlled by Shizuma. And Chodoro is holding his side of the argument, saying like, well, like, whether you like it or not, he just broke the rules of the shinobi, so therefore he has to suffer the consequences. But what Boruto does, he actually twists the whole situation. This isn't a revolution, this is not acting declaration of war, it's just people picking a fight with other people. And he further supports this, well, actually almost kind of blackmails this. You alright with that? And so by that logic, it's like, okay, let's say this is just a fight. We're gonna take care of it on one condition, and Chodoro is actually going to be is the condition in which he gets to join the fight as well. And thankfully he does, because as we transition to the next episode, it's just everyone coming together at the memorial that we saw in the previous episode. Was it the previous episode or the second one before it? In any case, it's the memorial. They were about to just like destroy that thing because I believe it didn't have some of the names of the other shinobi who were involved. For example, I guess people behind, like, same with like Kagura's bloodline, they weren't really added to the memorial as far as I remember, but they were pretty much going to wreck that thing. Boruto, Sarada, and Chodoro intercept them, and this is where the confrontation happens. You see Kagura is like, so you came. It's okay, there's something I do want to bring up, and that's the fact that we have the 7 swordsmen, which I guess from Chodoro's mind aren't actually 7 swordsmen, they're just a bunch of kids, right? And he continues to downplay them as kids just trying to start a fight. I mean, that has to be the situation for them to allow this fight to happen. And so some swordsmen are not really happy about that, and so they all go on their different attacks. It starts with Shizuma actually activating his red mist barrier, which pretty much separates all 3 of them. Boruto is separated, and he ends up having to face off against Kagura, like right then and there. Sarada actually gets she gets separated by the fact that I think it was Shibuki, the sword, the explosion sword, actually. Or was it the explosion sword? I don't know, it's probably the explosion sword that caused a hole for her to fall into and get her isolated with that one girl who I have a hard time remembering her name, but it's the blonde girl who has the Kiba swords. How do you detect that? That becomes its own separate episode for episode 30, which is the Sharingan versus the Lightning Blade Kiba the Fang. She has her own fight there where Chodro has to deal with the one with the Executioner's Blade. We also have the one with the Sewing Blade, and we also have the one that has the helm cutter and also like the mallet. This is, by the way, this is going to episode 30 now. How they're able to use them in the most primary of ways, but not actually use them well. Well, at least I guess because they're up against Chodro, who's like a master swordsman, it doesn't really do well because here he is like with a regular ass sword, right? And he just goes off and saying like the sword's only as good as the wielder. So even with a broken sword from the mallet impact, he was able to disarm, knock out, and just subdue people and have one surrender. I mean, the guy was really cool. Just the introduction of Chojo back in Shippuden was like a really cool idea. Just the whole concept of a sword being something that could take the forms of other weapons. So, and also that one shot in the Ninja War where he was able to extend his sword like so long that he swung around and caused Clone Naruto to like duck. That was a really cool shot. I'm not sure if you can see that. If you see it in the manga, that was something that was really cool about Jojo, and that kind of sealed the deal with like, this guy is really cool. Yeah, that's pretty much it. He subdues three of the seven swordsmen just like that. In the back, we also see the guy with the Kabuki, the explosion sword, and he actually gets in a fight with Iwabe because further back in 29, it shows that Iwabe was actually going out to find some answers, and he finds that one guy, I forget his name, but the guy with now like the neck bandages, pretty much interrogated him to find out where it was going on. And so now we had Iwabe versus the explosion sword dude. And again, mind you, these are not Genin, they're just regular kids. How Iwabe was able to not only take on an attack of like the explosion sword, but also like unsheath a blade underneath his pole and just like use it to slash at him at the last second. Seems like the guy sacrificed himself at the last moment in time. I don't know why he decided to do that. I guess it's because it's one of those things where like it was a very fatal wound, so he couldn't really do much about it, so he sacrificed himself for the sake of making sure Iwabe doesn't meddle anymore into Shizuma's plans. I know I've been kind of avoiding Sarada's fight, but definitely the Sharingan comes in handy here, because if it weren't for the Sharingan, Sarada would have been dead like 10 times over. I guess that's excusable, right? Because even though she is not a Genin, she's still rather skilled for her age. A lot of the younger shinobi in the Boruto series is very skilled, especially when they work together. But, you know, it's weird because you have all the seven swordsmen who are like 18 or so, right? Because Shizuma just proclaimed himself as 18. That was a really weird statement he decided to give off in that one episode. But they're 18 years old, so they have a lot of experience as shinobi. And here they are, some of them going toe to toe with these kids and not really doing much of anything. Like the whole thing with like Boruto facing off against all of them and then using his Boruto stream and just like whipping past them. I mean, that was unexpected from him, so I understand how I was shocked, but for them to be shocked, I'm not so sure about that. I know that Shizuma didn't care less about it, so. But going to Sarada's fight, so we have her in an enclosed area, pretty much a cave-like area with water, and she's stuck with this lightning sword girl. And so it comes down to a fact that Sarada needs to use her Sharingan to actually use genjutsu and also copy jutsus. In fact, a lot of the episode was focusing on her just trying to get around things and try to figure out a way to get close to her. And it's kind of hard because what the girl can use is, with the Kiba the Fang, is able to use both swords and actually manipulate them. And I guess that's because of the whole lightning style effect that because it's metal, she can use it, she can conduct electricity and create a connection, which you can actually manipulate these swords to pretty much do lightsaber throw force like at a constant time. I don't know, just despite Sarada actually having the upper edge and actually winning because of the fact that she was able to copy all the jutsus, but also throw in a genjutsu, which, by the way, I had no idea she could use that right now. So in which case, she uses genjutsu to her advantage and actually causes, I wish I remember the name of the girl, actually cause a whole bunch of confusion on her part by making her not notice how much mist has been built up, and actually use that to her advantage by using a paper bomb to create a gigantic explosion, which probably didn't kill her, it just probably just knocked her out. But Sarada actually won that fight, and that was actually really surprising. But I guess you can probably brush it off as an excuse of like, oh, she's an Uchiha, that's totally fine for her because Uchihas are just like so overpowered. But even so, like, these kids, they're just kids, right? So I don't know. This is what I was worried about when it came to Boruto. The entire series was giving us those like really cool moments, knowing that a previous fan base has watched the best. Like the whole Naruto versus Sasuke fight was probably like the pinnacle at that time, and you know, Boruto, the movies came out, and that's probably like the next level as far as high grade like shinobi fights, I suppose. So to get our attention here, I mean, this is something I would still see like from the Naruto Shippuden fights. Like, remember when Sakura and Chiyo went up against like the puppet master himself, and how that felt like a really important fight and felt like everything about it was valid. Just the fact that Sakura would go on about how she should not be injured as a medical ninja, and here she is like putting herself on the front line of this fight, and here we see like kind of a smaller version of that where it's Sarada fighting for her life against a very, very experienced shinobi, and she still wins. And I don't know how I feel about that, because obviously Mitsuki also is given so much like significance, especially when he talks to Suigetsu a lot, and how Suigetsu is like, well, I guess you can take care of him, because, well, I mean, Suigetsu by himself is like really skilled ninja, but I worry that they're gonna try to make these kids incredibly overpowered, and then at the end of the day, they're gonna have to nerf them for like not so strong enemies to come in, unless those guys are really strong. In which case, you see like, I guess, a power creep with everyone. There's a power scaling. In which case, everyone in the old Naruto series before Shippuden appear to be much weaker than a lot of these kids here. In fact, these kids seem a lot stronger than those before time skip Naruto characters, except for maybe Shikamaru. I think Shikamaru still has a chance. I would like to see how Sasuke, like regular ass Sasuke, before time skip, pretty much around the Haku era saga, go against this girl the way Sarada does. Because at that age, Sasuke was not able to do genjutsu whatsoever, and I mean, I think he's done copying before, but more on the physical side of things, not the actual jutsu side of things, ninjutsu. So it's very interesting to see how there is the separation or scaling for like these fights, where these kids who not even graduated the academy are still able to hold their own against these very well experienced shinobi. So I don't know. That's all I really have to say. I'm worried about it. But I feel that if they treat it the same way they kind of treated the new arc, which I think was pretty well done, then I don't really need to worry too much about that. I just know that it was everything about the whole thing with Sasuke and Naruto in this series was valid. And so these kids do have better skill, and it's proven to them, and it is canon. So I'm just unsure about how things will play out. I know that Boruto specifically is going to have some serious trouble, as he's going to try to talk no jutsu Kagura out of doing all of this. But it seems like Kagura is very well formed with his beliefs, like, you can't stop me, Boruto, you can't change the past. This is not a game like we did with the card game stuff with the Shinobi bout. yeah, we're not, this is not a game, Boruto. This is real life, and this is the path that I choose. Or at least this was chosen for me because of my bloodline. And so it's going to take Mitsuki to come in and rescue Boruto. I don't know how he's going to do it, but hopefully there's not some super high risk. Well, hopefully Boruto doesn't get badly injured. We know that Boruto is going to make it out alive, and we know that Mitsuki is going to show up on time, but who knows what's going to happen. I mean, Kagura is kind of, he's controlled, but he's also uncontrollable too. He's unpredictable, is what I'm saying. So it's kind of scary to see what this guy could do. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to end the discussion here because, well, there's not really much to say. I did enjoy the episode from the whole perspective. There was some good animation here and there, and it was really cool to see Chojo just taking care of these 7 swordsmen in their respective like legendary swords, like it was hardly anything. And then seeing Boruto actually kind of defenseless, but also kind of taking advantage and kind of persuading his side of things, kind of with his own wit. And yeah, I guess as far as him actually fighting Kagura, I would say that Boruto wouldn't want to fight Kagura, so I don't think that's going to happen, but I guess we'll see in the next episode. So we're going to end it here. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone. Oh, also stay subscribed for any new updates on Boruto and support our Patreon. Yeah. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.